Hey, MC back at the workbench. About a year ago or so, we put together this Charles Daly shotgun, kind of a cheap hand-me-down or inherited shotgun. Did a little spray paint job on. Also upgraded the recoil pad. Well, about that same time, I picked up a new recoil pad for the old 835 model Mossberg 12-gauge pump action, as this recoil pad has no more squish left in it. Yeah, as if 12 gauge wasn't a little abusive on your shoulder. Take away your recoil pad and it transfers that energy through the wood stock right into your bones. And as you get older, it doesn't really make shooting enjoyable. So here we have a really squishy Pacmar recoil pad we're going to toss on. And you can see there is some size difference. So we'll have to do a little bit of fitting. But let's get started. This thing's been sitting around way too long. It's getting to be about time to finish it up. I'm starting by adding a little bit of tape to the wood stock. This is just one layer of blue painter's masking tape. I'm going to add another couple of layers to it. So as I start to remove that recoil pad with a sanding disc and an angle grinder, I'll have a couple of different colors. So if I do end up smudging up against the side of the stock, as I burn through my tape, I will see the color change and know to back off before I have to refinish the wood. Alright, so I've got two layers of blue. I've got a layer of this kind of fluorescent yellow greenish, and I'm going to throw one more layer of the blue over the top, attach my new recoil pad, and then I will go after it with an angle grinder with a sanding disc to remove the excess material and match the profile of the stock. Probably could go after it with a saw and trim down some of the profile first. If I had a nice band saw, that would make pretty easy work on a bench. However, I don't, so I am going to work with the tools I have. Get this hard recoil pad out of here, get a new squishy one in. Possibly this old Savage Stevens model would be a good candidate for a new recoil pad, as this rubber is really dried and hard as well. But dude, my buddy, is probably going to be picking that gun back up this weekend, coming up on the new year. I've had that one way too long. Get him out back into the shooting sports with that. Same as this one, putting new life into it. Get that out of the gun cabinet and out into the wild and use that some more, as well as this 835. Get the recoil cut down. We'll use the thing more. And here we have that stock prepped. Recoil pad is attached, but clearly you can see this thing needs some trimming. Or leave it this way and have interesting conversations with people at the gun range or at your local trap field. Anyway, let's get it outside. Do a little grinding on this thing. Make it match like it should. And now out in the shed, we got a pig head helping us do the work today. We have a 40 grit sanding disc on the edge of the angle grinder. So this is a series of sandpaper flappies attached to a grinder. And we're going to take off the excess. And here is one side, fairly profiled down, if we can get her to focus. And you can see A little bit of green sneaking through, or the yellow sneaking through. That's from that that layer of masking tape I put on there to kind of use as a guide to not destroy my wood finish. And so now this profile is matching the profile of the wood stock. Have to remove the stuff on the top, the far side, and the bottom yet. But if you wanted to custom carve these things, have a specific look to it, this is where you would do it at. But for the most part, that sanding disc and a grinder is your friend. Just go slow and steady, and you can remove the material, make it look like a pro. So with a little effort and a lot of rubber dust, safety glasses, and of course hearing protection because that grinder gets annoying, you can do a little bit of profile adjustment. I left the heel long on this. You can always come back and adjust them later, so I wanted that to dip down a little bit further. I'll do some test shooting with it, see how that fits. If I find that's in the way or uncomfortable or affects how I can pull and mount this firearm, this shotgun, I can always trim it from there. But otherwise, the profile is pretty close. You want to keep in mind not to go too deep and cut into the edge of the pad and screw things up, so you have to leave a little bit of meat around the side of these expansion points. And then again, you can always profile and adjust that with a grinder to fit your particular application. And again, this one was a Pacmar sold recoil pad, white line, Pacmar Gunworks, Los Angeles, California. So take your time, use a little masking tape. You can see a couple little spots where I got close with the grinder, and that's why I double layered those tape with two different colors. So as I get close, you can see where you're starting to smudge. So this point here, we burned through the blue, we got into that yellowish green tape a little bit, and that stock should still be protected. And again, I just wrapped the whole stock all the way up just so I didn't gouge it up. Of course, the table I'm using here is pretty light. It's not likely to gouge and scrape. And then after you're done, you've got to give everything a good cleaning to get all that rubber residue out of the way. Definitely not a project to do on your dining room table. Otherwise, you're going to have a mess to clean up. But a little patience, a few minor tools, and you too can put some old life or new life into your old firearm. Keep that serviceable and comfortable in the field. Thanks for watching. And now back together on the bench. This is the rough profile. You can see there's a couple little spots to smooth out, but we can take the butt plate off, get that with a block sander, some finer grit sandpaper. If there's any high spots, we can mark that with a marker or a little bit of paint, give us an idea of how much to remove. If there's any other contouring or profiling we want to do with any of the rubber, we still can take that stuff off at a later date. But for a basic fit, without screwing up the stock, the trick is throw some masking tape down. I like double layered so I can see if I'm getting thin. If you just use one color, you don't realize you've cut through it until you're into the wood and the finish. And so get rid of the old, in with the new. Happy 2025. Be safe. Thanks for watching.